So, I'm doing my speech on gun control, and I wanted to propose the idea of putting laws against people who have mental illnesses and parents of children who have mental illnesses, and like not to take guns away from like innocent people who use the guns like against um, crime, like for protection and just for hunting and stuff like that. Because I know in a few states have already passed the laws of gun buybacks, where they'll buy back your gun for a lot less than what you actually paid for them. And then I did 4 different examples. One of them was Virginia Tech, which is one of the largest killing sprees in a school. And the guy, his name was Cho some, I can't remember the last part of his name, but he was 23 years old and he was a student at Virginia Tech, and he killed 30 people, and he was actually diagnosed with being selectively mute, and a lot of his family thought that he was autistic, so he didn't get along with people very well. And then the second example that I did was the Tucson, Arizona shooting with the Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and she has been injured for the rest of her life. Like, she got shot in the head, and she's still having trouble like with speech and everything, but you can kind of understand her still. And he was I think he was a paranoid schizophrenic, and he didn't like the Congresswoman, so he went on a killing spree. He shot and killed 6 people. One of them was a little girl, and then the one that he injured was the Congresswoman. And then the third one that I did was the Aurora shooting in Colorado at the Dark Knight premiere, midnight premiere Dark Knight. And he killed 12 people and he injured 58. But there wasn't any diagnosis of him having a mental illness, but there was evidence that he went to 3 different mental health professionals before the shooting. So they think that he might have had something mentally wrong with him. And then the last one, which is the most recent one that happened, was the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut, right? Yeah. And he was somewhat autistic, and he had Asperger's syndrome, and he went into the school with his mother's guns because he was living with his mom, and he was only 20 years old, so he wasn't even old enough to buy guns. But because he lived in a household that had guns, he was able to get to them. And he shot and killed his mother, and then he went to his school and he killed 20 children and 7 adults, including his mom. And this was all within like 15-20 minutes. He killed that many people. And then I wanted to know like how you guys felt about putting laws against people who have mental illness and parents of children who have mental illnesses about buying guns, like for pawn shops or anyone like that. If you're gonna go buy a gun from there, they should do very strict background checks, and if you have any type of mental illness, or if you have someone living in your household with a mental illness, then you're not allowed to buy the guns. What do you guys think about that?
Who's going to make the definition of what a mental illness is?
Well, the doctors would have to diagnose them, like the psychologists.
I mean, like,
some people have OCD. It doesn't affect
them at all. Yeah, that means we wouldn't have any guns in our house.
Yeah. I have OCD.
True.
So who is going to make the definition of what mental illness is defined as? Where are you going to draw the line there?
That I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I would imagine depression is a mental illness, and
Yeah.
probably 9 out of 10 households has somebody in their house that's diagnosed with depression.
Hmm.
So you would have to figure out
Like where to draw the line on
Yeah.
mental illness to put the law on. Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
because that's a pretty broad
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah,
of
because if you
people.
think about it, people who are depressed, they can get a hold of a gun and kill themselves or kill their family because they're so depressed about something like losing their job or losing someone in the family.
That could be anybody.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
then
true.
you also have to think about, if that is a law, are people not going to get help that need help because they're worried that that's going to be on their record?
Hmm.
If that's public record,
Yeah.
because now that's covered under the HIPAA, so nobody would be allowed to see those kind of records.
Yeah. And another thing that I thought would be a good idea, which I think some schools have already started doing this, was putting security guards or police officers or even people from the armed forces, like from the army and stuff, in the schools, at least like 2 or 3 of them in the schools at the doors and everything. That way they do the security check, make sure no one can get into the schools, because like even at universities they should do that kind of stuff, because I know that at universities they don't do that stuff. I know that at the school that I go to, that I haven't seen one security guard anywhere. And I know they have like campus police and stuff, but I haven't seen like anyone in the actual building, like with the scanners or anything. But I think that would be a good idea to help protect the kids more. And if you think about it, there's plenty of veterans out there that don't have jobs or anything like that, and I feel like that could even create more jobs for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I think that'd be a really good idea. What do you think about that, Brandon?
I think that making gun control laws for mentally ill people, it's still not going to stop them from killing people. They'll just find another way. I'm not saying it won't help. I'm just saying they'll find another way.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
There are snipers, grenades, and gases.
Well, I figured since...
And especially if they know if you have guards at the doors, they'll just know that's the first person to kill is the person at the door.
I think maybe making assault rifles illegal.
Yeah.
That has multiple shots at, in one gun versus like
Just a handgun.
a handgun or a shotgun.
Yeah, because Adam Lanza in Connecticut, his mom had assault rifles because she was a apocalypse survivalist or whatever, and she was, stocking up for the end of the world and everything.
Sounds cool.
But that's why she had those assault rifles and everything. So, and I think the guy that did the Tuscan, Arizona shooting, I think he also had an assault rifle with him too.
Most of them have.
Yeah. But my whole thing is that they all had some sort of mental illness. So I thought, if you're gonna make a gun law, why not make it like against people who have mental illnesses, and then parents of children who have mental illnesses.
There's just a lot of people.
Yep.
Just because you have that doesn't mean that you can't.
Yeah.
You don't control it. I mean, that would mean nobody in our household would have one, and a Papa wouldn't have one.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be
a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that have.
So no shotguns, no nothing. I mean, you'd have to really look into that a little more.
It's just such a big controversy because, especially like with people down south, because they do a lot of hunting and everything, and that's just one of the big things down there. they don't want their guns taken away from them just because of the shootings, because of like a few crazy people that would do that.
You're gonna have crime no matter what. If it's not with a gun, it'll be with a knife. If it's not with a knife, it'll be
With a fist.
with, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have
Explosives, anything.
anything, so you're not gonna prevent.
And that's
people
one thing I don't understand about the whole gun control thing. Because even a lot of people would talk about that, they would say, oh, well, if you're gonna do the gun control, it's not gonna stop like criminals from getting guns somehow. They're gonna find a way to steal them or
Yeah.
take them
Smuggle
from
'em
someone.
in.
Yeah, smuggle them.
I mean, drugs are illegal, but people still find ways to get those.
Yeah. Like marijuana. Like,
So,
there's plenty of people around here, even friends that I know of, they do the marijuana. It's not even illegal here, or legal.
so if they want it, they're gonna find it.
But thank you guys for your time, for listening to me talk about gun control. And that's the end of my speech. And it was 11 minutes long.